You're listening to The Lyndia Grant Show. Think on these things with Lyndia Grant.
Well, good evening, Radio 1 listeners. Thank you for tuning in to the Lyndia Grant Show. We are here again. It's Friday. I'm always happy to be with you all on Friday. We're going to be talking this week to Dr. Julianne Malvo about economy and politics, whatever she comes in with. You all know how she rolls. And then we're going to talk to Attorney Shelore Williams, talking about wills. I always bring her in 3 or 4 times a year. So it's going to be interesting. Stay tuned for part 2. Now let's go to Dr. J. Dr. Julianne, what you got for us today?
Girl, first of all, Grand Rising, good to be with you on this fabulous Friday.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Start with what's going on right now. You know, the first week of the conflict with Iran, the United States spent more than $11 billion in the first week. That represents between about $2 billion a day. What could we do with $2 billion?
Oh my gosh, that's a lot.
In one day, spent in one day. We could upgrade every school that's failing. You know, we got a lot of schools that have crumbling infrastructure. We could provide health care for everybody. Everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's just so many things that we can do. But, and that's just the beginning. Because this person who lives in a house that enslaved people built doesn't know how long we're going to be there. He says 2 weeks. He says 1 month. He keeps changing his mind. But how do you ever get involved in a war based on a vibe? He said he had a vibe. To me, that's like a 70s thing with a red light and a cool brother.
Mm-hmm.
A vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Not, taking, it looks like it might be as many as 50,000 troops over there. I interviewed yesterday Dr. Heidi Peltier at a Brown University who talked about how this vibe will turn into perhaps a permanent thing. Remember that when we went to, in 2001, we thought that they had the anthrax or something. I got kicked off of CNN because I picked up a little thing and I said, this could be anthrax, this could be hair grease. They thought that was inappropriate, but it probably was, me being me. But anyway, in 20 years, because of that 2001 intrusion, we spent $8 trillion on war in Iraq and Afghanistan. Let me repeat that, $8 trillion.
I hear you with the T like Tom. Wow.
That's 8,000 billion.
Mm-hmm.
8 million. A trillion here, a trillion there. Come on. The number is so large that it loses meaning. And so we have to really pay attention to what's going on here because guess what? First of all, what we know is they're saying a billion here, a billion there, but we don't know how long this is going to be. And that's the issue, Lyndia, is that we don't know how long this is going to be. If he goes in there on a vibe, is he going to leave on a vibe? Or how long does a vibe last? But here's what we also know. Women are 18% of the active duty military. The South, the poorest area of the country, supplies about 44% of recruits. Black Americans, 13% of the population, but 20% of the Army enlisted. So we're looking at, they swipe. I want to go back to World War II, if you don't mind, for just a minute. In World War II, there was a sense of collective sacrifice. In other words, people bought war bonds. People had to deal with rationing. People understood that we were all in it to win it. Now, we don't pay for it collectively. It doesn't show up unless you go to the gas pump, where some people are telling me, in Prince George's County, as an example, one of my friends said her gas was 80 cents a gallon more than it was just 1 week ago. 80 cents a gallon more. I've heard numbers ranging from 50 cents to 80 cents that people are paying more. But it's other than if you don't drive, you don't feel it.
It is. It is, Dr. J, because I put in my Jaguar, I put in $20 before the war, and it pushed me up to a half a tank. And this past weekend, I put in $50, and it only gave me a half a tank.
So you're looking at from $20 to $50. You're looking at 150% increase in what your gas costs.
Mm-hmm.
There are going to be other costs. I mean, if you're shipping from anywhere in the world, it's going to be more expensive. Everything is going to be more expensive. But who's going to pay? The people at the bottom, the people who can afford it the least. And that's where we are right now. And so we have to really deal with that. We really have to deal with that, Lyndia. And last time around, they said that the war was going to cost about 4 trillion. No, they said 4 billion. It ended up costing 800 billion.
Mm-hmm.
That's a multiplier. So that's where we are now. So we just have to talk about that. We have to be really clear about it. People, we could have rebuilt schools. We could have canceled student debt. We could have guaranteed childcare. We could have made housing more affordable. But we chose war instead. So we look at our budget. I always tell people, if you show me your budget, I'll tell you your values. And our values are aggression and war. So I want to just, we are going to see this week Mark Wayne Mullen, a MAGA crazy man who is the president's choice for Homeland Security. He believes in small government unless he's talking about war. He believes in borrowing. I mean, we got a credit card with an unlimited bill. Mark Wayne Mullen is not the appropriate person for the position at Homeland Security. But Mark Wayne Mullen is a MAGA. And he's friends with lots of senators. He's a former senator. So guess what? He's likely to be confirmed. But we're taping on Tuesday. By Friday, we'll have an answer. And the answer is not going to be a pleasant one. He's more than likely to be confirmed. So we have to deal with that. But you know, Lyndia, I know that we're cutting short on time right now. And so you tell me when to stop. But I'm going to stop on a high note. I was dancing in the street when when Michael B. Jordan won the Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
Dancing in the street. I actually went outside with my tennis shoes on. Dance in the street.
You were tickled.
That was so deserved. Sinners was a great movie for a number of reasons. I wouldn't watch it at first. I don't like vampire movies. I don't like scary movies. That's just me. I don't like them. But people said, well, you got to look at it as a metaphor. And so I did. It is a metaphor. Those vampires were a metaphor for the vampirish ways that white supremacy has hurt Black people.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just so much more I can say about it. But all I have to say is, first of all, Oscar lied. That other movie wasn't worth 2 dead flies on a bad day. But it was white. And so they went with the white shit. Excuse my language. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all gonna forgive me. But they went with the white mess. Whereas this movie was so brilliant, so amazing, so fantastic. And what do we have to say about that? Right on, bro. Right on. Ryan Coogler did not get the award he deserved. The movie did not get the award it deserved. But guess what? I'm going to watch it again tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I've now watched it about 5 times. It really is very metaphoric, and it's an amazing film. Tell me if I have any more time.
1 more minute.
1 more minute. Well, in that 1 minute, let's just be clear about what's going on. What we see with this Mark Wayne Mullen person and with this war, and it is a war, they want to call it, okay, it's a war. The midterm elections make a difference, folks. If you're not registered to vote, please do. If you got issues, please fix them. We can stop. He just said, I can take Cuba. I can do whatever I want.
I heard him, yes.
We need to stop that. And we're the only ones who can stop it by voting. So that's my last word, Lyndia.
All right.
People to vote.
Thank you. I wanted to join in on you, but if I talk, we'll use up too much time. All right. Thank you, Dr. J. We'll talk to you next week. Let's go to a commercial break, and we'll be back in a moment.
If it wasn't for my care coach at AmeriHealth, I probably wouldn't be so healthy right now. As a man, we don't get checkups or see a doctor regularly anyways. It's probably just a man thing because none of my partners go either. We know we should, but we just don't, and hope it works out.
So what changed for you?
AmeriHealth assigned me a care coach, somebody that gives one-on-one help, answer questions, explain things, and help set my appointments. She also helped me understand what having high blood pressure really means and ways to manage it so it doesn't kill me. It ain't nothing to play with. If you're a member of AmeriHealth, ask for a care coach. I'm glad I got mine.
At AmeriHealth, if you need a care coach, you can have one. Just call us at 1-877-759-6224 to get connected. 1-877-759-6224. This program is funded in part by the government of the District of Columbia Department of Healthcare Finance. Mayor Muriel Bowser.
Washington and former religion columnist Lyndia Grant.
Paul was one of the great encouragers. In fact, in 1 Thessalonians, he says, "Therefore encourage one another and build one another up, just as you are doing. And we exhort you, brethren, admonish the idle, encourage the faint-hearted, help the weak, be patient with them all. See that none of you repays evil for evil, but always seek to do good for one another and all." We should encourage each other at every opportunity. That's a key to raising great kids. And in churches and in businesses, that's how to be a good leader. So encourage your children, your friends, believers and non-believers. It will help them become better people, and you will be a better person too. And happy Thanksgiving to you too.
Read more in the religion column of the Washington Informer, an award-winning African-American newspaper. We don't report crime or gossip, just positive news. Pick up the Washington Informer or visit us online at washingtoninformer.com. Call 202-561-4100 for more information.
This is Frank Smith with the African American Civil War Museum in Washington, D.C., located at 1925 Vermont Avenue Northwest on the Green Line. Did you know that a recent study found that children who visit museums do better in school and in life than children who do not? So parents, teachers, and preachers, let's get moving. I promise you, if you bring your children to the African American Civil War Museum, they will be inspired by the images that they see. They will be impressed by our living history reenactors who are always available, and they will be involved in our scavenger hunt that takes them throughout our exhibit. That's the African American Civil War Museum, 1925 Vermont Avenue. Our hours are 10 to 6:30 on weekdays, 12 to 4 on Saturdays and Sundays. See it, be inspired.
And we are back. Thank you for tuning in to the Lyndia Grant Show. You are here on Spirit 1340 WYCB, and I have been talking to Dr. Julianne Malvo in part one, but my second guest today is attorney Shelore Ann Carey Williams. She'll be talking about wills, and her main level of practice is wills and probate. Welcome to the show today, Shelore Williams.
Oh, thank you for having me, Lyndia. You know, I'm always happy to be on your show because I want always your listeners to know how hard you work for them and how hard you try to find the right topics for them. Even today, we were talking about what we were going to talk about, and I remember that you just lost a dear good friend, just had the funeral last week.
Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson.
That's right. And before him, another friend of yours passed away, Pierpont
Mobley.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And you know, these wonderful people, death doesn't have a name. It just does. If you're a person of experience, person of no experience, if you're high class, low class, middle class, death comes every day. Mm-hmm. And so I thought that I would take this opportunity to remind your listeners how important it is to get your documents in order, because there's always a question that has to be answered when people die. And that is, what do we do next? How do we write an obituary? What does a death certificate do? How do we take care of mama? How do we take care of the children? And that's why your will is the will and last testament is so important, because it tells people, it tells the public, it tells the court, this is what I want to have happen when I'm no longer around. And I'll tell you something, Lyndia, it is relieving to people who you leave behind. If you leave no will, people are all upset. They don't know what to do. They're confused. And I just like to take these opportunities to talk to people about just relax, take a deep breath, and know one thing. You cannot do anything without a death certificate. And people who try to sell a house, sell a car, get money out the bank, you can't do all that without a death certificate. You cannot do all that without a last will and testament filed in the courthouse, where the court has appointed you what they call a personal representative. In some cases, in some states, they call you an administrator. In some states, they call you an executor. So knowing ahead of time what you can prepare for and what is expected of you will save you a lot of grief. For instance, when you do not have a will, Lyndia, and a person dies, who will the court look to handle the last assets or the debts of the person? Well, if the person is married, they look at the spouse. If the person is married and they have children, but the spouse has died, they look at the children. If the children are not there, they look at the siblings. If the siblings are not there, they look at the parents. That's if you do not have a will. But you can make that so easy by naming your executor or your administrator or your personal representative. It tells the court, this is the person I want to take care of my assets at the time of my death. And Lyndia, the other thing that you have to think about is your burial place. You know,
but let's go back to the will before you go to the burial.
Okay.
Can they do it like when I was watching a movie on TV where the lady just got two witnesses. She wrote it up differently, even though her lawyer had done the will officially. The one that she wrote up the night before she either committed a suicide or whatever she did, because she laid down and went to sleep and didn't wake back up, but she had witnesses, or a new will that she wrote that night that superseded the other one. I'm asking because I don't remember what you said when I asked that question before.
You know, that's a very good question. Let's talk about that will that we say is the last will and testament. It is the last statement that the person makes about themselves and what they want to have happen. This will, this document that you write up, whatever you put in it, has to be in the District of Columbia and in Maryland. It has to be witnessed, your signature, when you sign it, it has to be witnessed at the same time you sign it by two people. And on top of that, you can't sign the will today and then take it to me tomorrow to witness it. Everybody has to be in the same room.
That's what she did.
The other important thing is Virginia not only has two witnesses, but it has a notary component to it. What does that mean? That means jurisdictions have different regulations that govern how this document, this will, this last will and testament is supposed to have in its document. So you have the person who writes the will. Watch me sign the will. You also have to remember two things. Your will should be initialed on each page and dated by the writer, and the two witnesses. That shows the court that there's no hanky-panky with that document. So the name of the person who's writing the will and the two witnesses sign and initial each page. In this document, you also have to name your executor or your personal representative. And let's say you die, you write your will, Lyndia, you name me as your personal representative, but suppose I just happened to die before you. You then name a backup person. If Shelore is not around when I die, then I want Miss Susie to be my personal representative. You always have to have a backup person. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does. Because none of us are guaranteed, even though we may go to sleep healthy, we don't know whether we're going to wake up. We just don't.
And not only that, when you die, some people just die sitting in a chair, talking on the phone. I just had a friend of mine, a very close friend of mine, nice guy. I was sitting in the chair looking at the television, and that was the end of the story for that day at that time. And so, but fortunately for that person, they did prepare a will. Not only did they prepare a will, they had a life insurance policy. So now, here you have a will that tells the court and tells your family and friends by public what you want to do with your assets, your house, your car, your clothes, your jewelry. That's important. That's so important. And it makes it easier for the person who has to carry out those responsibilities. Now, in Maryland, we call them personal representatives. That person you trust will do what you say in your written last will and testament. And that person has an obligation to act in the best interest of what they call your estate.
Let me just say, let me jump in and so you can answer this while you're answering that. If somebody write on their will that they want something to happen, and although they trusted the people and they still do something different, and I'm only saying that because a couple of people told me that somebody too well known for me to name left me some money in their will for my radio show. But some people in the family never told me, but they know that it happened. And they were telling me because they expected me to get it, but I never did. So all I'm saying is they obviously changed their plans.
Well, let's see what the two possible things that happen. And this is how you can check. First of all, there's a will and a person has left something in the will. Let's say a fur coat. That lady, that fur coat might not be available at the time of death. I've had the client to die in 2014, leave a living room set to a friend of hers. She didn't die until 2024. The living room set was not available. It was not there anymore. She had moved from her house to assisted living, and they had to get rid of the furniture while she was living. Now,
I see.
Or let's say it is there and you don't know what happened to it. Well, you have to file the will in the courthouse. So Maryland, you have to file a will in the courthouse. And then you can read what's in that will. You just go to the courthouse, see if you can get a copy and see what's in the will. And the other thing that you can see is what happened to that money or that fur coat or that car. It has to be listed in what they call a report or an account in Maryland. You have to tell the court what happened to all the assets. And so it's a possibility. Here's the coat. You have to tell the court that that coat was not there at the time of death. And that's how the person doesn't get the coat.
Okay, I see.
But you can always check, Lyndia. You can always check because there's a report.
Even if you're not part of the family, a will is open for other people to see? Because I never thought of that.
Oh yes, you can check it out. If what's supposed to happen, if your name is listed in the will, then you are what they call an interested person.
Okay.
And as such, you should have gotten a copy of the will so that you can see that your name is in the will. And then you're supposed to get a report of what happened to all the assets. Did you have enough assets to cover the bills? Did you have to sell or use all the assets to cover the bill and the estate is at a deficit? That report is in court. You can't sell a house, sell a car, you get rid of a fur coat without being appointed the personal representative. And that personal representative must contact the listed interested persons in the will.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Okay.
the other possibility is the person could have said, Lyndia, I want you to have this money when I die, but she forgot to write the will or forgot to revise the will to put your name in the will. But you can always take a look at that will.
But the person that told me that it was in there is dead now too. And but she said she knew it was in there. So I can't, I just decided to leave it alone.
Well, right. Just know that if the will is in the courthouse and you're an interested person, that's what they call you, an interested person, you can get a look at that will.
Okay, but that's Maryland. But is it the same in DC? Because this was DC resident.
Yes, I believe if you go to DC, it might be a little difficult, but you have to tell them you believe you're an interested person listed in this will. And you can go up online, I think in DC. And yes, you can go online in DC and put the lady.
Oh my goodness. All right, thank you. Now go ahead. I interrupted you because you were talking about something that piqued my interest. That's all right.
Okay. Well, but you made up some very important points, and that is, how do I know if I'm in the will? Well, you'll know because it's the responsibility of the executor or the personal representative to contact you. But also,
that's why I'm saying, but does that always happen? No, I don't believe it does.
Well, if you file in court, let me go with DC. DC has two systems, what they call supervised estate and unsupervised estate. In an unsupervised estate, you're listed and reported to the court, and you tell the court that I'll do everything I'm supposed to do, and they'll leave you alone. In a supervised estate process, the court monitors your actions. In Maryland, everything is supervised, and the court always monitors the actions of the personal representative.
Okay.
So you can look, why don't you call me tomorrow and give me the name, and we can go up on DC and see if it's in there.
All right, I can do that. Thank you, Shelore. It looks like we're out of time. I was trying to keep up. That's why you have to do a podcast with me. Because that way we can talk and keep going, because you have so much to tell people.
What I love about doing this with you is that it's such a wonderful, easy conversation with you.
Yes, it is. And that's why I like to have you on too. Because you answer not just me, because I guarantee you there's some listeners out there listen to this show today who might have the same situation that I'm in. Heard that they were going to get something and did not. So, and I mean, a reputable person, somebody that had something to leave too. So,
right.
All right, Shelore, thank you so much for being my guest today. I appreciate you, and I'm going to have you back on because there's so much more we can talk about.
All right. I love that. I love it.
All right. Thanks a lot. Thank you for tuning in to the Lyndia Grant Show. That does it for today. Good day.
Thank you for listening to the Lyndia Grant Show. Think on these things with your host, Lyndia Grant.